Hey y'all, welcome back to Everything Lauren, and welcome back to our third episode, I should say, of my Therapy Thursdays. Excuse me, y'all. I want to be totally transparent. Today is currently Saturday. I know I have said in my last two previous episodes that I was going to be recorded on Sundays. I'm like a week behind because last week I did not record at all. I wanted to record like during the week, but I honestly just did not have the time, and I really did not have the mental fortitude to sit down and kind of like do this. So it is currently Saturday. I just dropped my daughter off at school. My other daughter's in the bed chilling, so I'm gonna let her chill. And I was like, oh, I got, just enough time to sit down and record my Therapy Thursday. So with that being said, this Therapy Thursday may be a little long, but I'm going to try to keep it as interesting as I possibly can with the topics that I have today, because there are a couple things that I want to go over since it has kind of been 2 weeks since I've been in front of the camera for Therapy Thursday. So I'm going to give y'all money's worth. So I have two topics that I would like to talk about today. One is parenting, because I'm gonna just call it spade a spade, girl. My daughter had to check me this week. I know it sounds crazy, but she had to kind of check me. And the thing is, I'm glad she did. I'm glad she was brave enough to come say to me hey, girl, what's the issue? But we'll get into that. And the second thing that I would like to talk about is family. It is the holiday season. As y'all can see, I got the nice little my decor behind me. It's Christmas time. And, I wanted to talk about family and how to deal with certain things when it comes to family. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is parenting, because I don't feel like that's as heavy. So this week, I'm moving too fast, y'all. I'm going to recap what I've been doing the last 2 weeks. Now, I know previously we have talked about journaling. I've talked about not getting on my cell phone as soon as I wake up in the morning, giving myself time to process the day and what I could be expecting for the day, or just get in my mind right. And we talked about exercising. And I think that was about it. Just being gracious. I also talked about, the comparison thing that I personally deal with. So to make this short and sweet, I did exercise last week. This week, however, I did not exercise. I really don't have an excuse besides I started off Sunday going to bed real late, and it's just been that way all week. It's like I've been kind of just all over the place. And that's because, number one, my daughter's cheerleading for basketball has started, so my days are a little bit longer than they were previously. And I've just had a lot of things going on within the past couple of weeks. Of course, my mother's party was last week, so I was entertaining family that was here. And then when my family left, I had to get myself back in order, my household back in order for the week. So it was a little hectic for me this current week, like that we're coming out of. So I really did not exercise, but I did get up the previous last week and exercise Monday through Friday for 30 minutes. And I do plan on doing that starting again on probably tomorrow or Monday. So yes, I have been journaling, but not every day. I feel like I journal when I just need a release. So that's how I've been kind of journaling. If I really feel like I need to journal, I'm going to journal. And reading a book. I did start the book. It's really interesting, but I did not finish because, girl, sorry, I hit the stamp. At night, once I get upstairs in my bed and I'm finished doing everything I need to do, honey, I'm not even up 5 minutes after I lay in my bed. I be out like a light. So, again, that's one of those things that I feel like I'm going to have to do it when I just feel like I have the time. I'm not trying to put more on myself or be, overcritical of keeping up with like certain things. Like, I know I can read when I have time, so that's when I'm going to do it. And I'll journal when I feel like I need a release, or, I have some things that I need to get off my chest that are not necessarily important for me to voice vocally to anybody. So I'm going to use my journal for that. And like I just said, I am going to start back exercising. So that was my week. And I'm still doing the Bible Plan app. I'm currently about to be done with the one that I am doing, the Praying for Your Husband one. That has been very enlightening. I think it has helped me to not say everything that I want to say every time something happens, like to just calm myself. It has helped me in that aspect. So I am going to find probably like 2 more plans that I can do next week just to keep that momentum going, because I feel like, me not getting on Instagram or TikTok, Facebook early in the morning. Now, I do get on YouTube in the morning. I do go through shorts, but the way my shorts are set up is more like inspirational things that come by on my shorts, like people talking about relationships, people talking about God, people talking about, just being a better person overall. So that really works for me in the morning. So I just, if I'm finished with my plans with the Bible app, I'll just go look at that to keep me from the temptation of going on Instagram, which, since I haven't been going on Instagram, it has been a little bit easier for me nowadays to just get up and not think about it and go on, social media later. So that's what my recap of what I have been doing the last 2 weeks. My dogs are here. What I have been doing the last 2 weeks. And, we're just going to keep it moving. Now, what I want to talk about today is parenting. And y'all look at he just gotta be around. Okay, we're getting off subject, but I want to talk about parenting because this week in particular, like, again, cheerleading for my daughter, my youngest daughter, started this week, and that can be a little hectic for me because I do work a full-time job. And I do get off at 5 o'clock, and her cheerleading starts at 6:30. So it is like I'm under a time crunch when I get home a lot of times. So, I'm a little frantic. But this week with my oldest daughter, she was basically having a terrible morning. Now, I did not know she was having a terrible morning before she came downstairs, but I had noticed that she didn't come downstairs till it was almost time for her to leave, for her to get on the bus, because my child does ride the bus. I'm not taking you to school. Once you get your license, you can drive yourself to school. But, I'm not taking nobody to school every day. But nonetheless, she... it was like late in the morning, and it was more closer time for her to go to school, and I didn't hear her come downstairs to make her lunch. I didn't hear her come downstairs to eat breakfast that I had made. So, I called her downstairs, and granted, I'm going to be totally honest with you. When I initially first seen her, I could tell like something wasn't right. I'm like, what's going on with you? And then, she's like, she just gave me this look. And y'all, let me tell you what I did. I start talking about like, why am I buying you all these shoes if you're only going to wear Crocs? Now, totally not paying attention to the fact that something is wrong. She's distraught, which I kind of, at this point, knew what she was distraught about. But, girl, I'm going to be honest, I didn't care. So, I just go in. I'm like, why are you always putting on Crocs? Like, what are we spending hundreds of dollars on shoes for if you're only going to wear Crocs to school? And, what is the problem? Now, I knew what the problem was, and I knew it was her hair. Like, my daughter, like... we are all good at something. I'm really good at like hair and beauty and things like that. That's what I have always been into since I was younger. I was into doing hair. Like, so it comes easy for me. I can look at something and I can do it. Like, but that's what I'm good at. My daughter is not as good at hair as I am. You know, I've tried to teach her over the years, but you know, the bottom line is some people just can't do hair, and she's one of those people. Now, I say that to say she's used to having braids in her hair. However, her stylist, which is my friend, you know, the one who does my hair, you know, wants her to get out of the braids and wanted her to, you know, take a break from keeping braids in your hair because she did have faux locks in her hair and it kind of like tore some of her hair out or whatever. So she ended up getting a bob, you know, weave. Now, I know my daughter, and I know you cannot keep up with an actual hairstyle. You know how to rock braids, locks, you know, anything like a protective style. That's what you know how to rock. Like, you're not really, you don't know how to curl your hair. You don't know how to flat iron your hair. It just, it don't work for you. Like, you've tried, but it doesn't work for you. And again, this is something that, you know, that's just not what she's good at. Like, it's easy for me to get up and curl hair and braid hair and do things like that because that's what I'm good at. But for her, it's not. So I told her, you know, if you can't take care of weave, this is prior to this day I'm talking about, you shouldn't get it. But nonetheless, when you go get your hair done, my daughter pays for her own hair. She makes her own appointments. You know, she's 16, so she takes care of stuff like that herself. So she got the hairstyle. Now, I knew when I seen the hairstyle that she wasn't going to be able to keep up with that because you don't know how to flat iron and curl hair. So, you know, she's had the style in for about, I'm going to say about 3 weeks. It's probably time for it to come out. And I guess, you know, that particular morning you were having a hard time maybe like curling it. It's probably time for it to come out anyway because I think it's like some hair store hair. It's not like no bundles. It was just supposed to be a little quick hairstyle to just give her hair time to rest before she gets braids. Now, me knowing all of this, I just didn't care. You know, it was just like, I kind of was in a mind frame of, like, I'm not getting ready to sit here and feel sorry for you because I told you not to get this hairstyle. So, you know, she ends up leaving. I could tell by the look on her face that I have totally annoyed her. So when I got to work and I'm like, you know, I'm sitting, I'm thinking, I was on, I believe, YouTube. Again, I watch shorts and like they have inspirational things come up. And it was something about like, you know, talking to your kids and being, matter of fact, was it, I don't remember what it was, but you know, it was something about, you know, just talking to your kids and like parenting your kids differently and doing things differently. So, you know, I was like, okay, I knew she was upset. And like, the more I thought about it, like, damn, Lauren, like, you know, you could have handled that situation totally different. So while I was at work, I decided to text her, you know, if I hurt your feelings this morning by my nitpicking, you know, I apologize because in this house we don't say I'm sorry because my husband will be like, you're not sorry. You're not a sorry person. So we say I apologize. So, you know, I apologized to her. And then when I got home that evening, girl, she got in my ass. She was just, you know, I'm like, you know, the customary, how was school? What's going on? You all right? Everything all right? You need to talk to me about anything? And then she was just like, no, I want to talk to you about this morning. And then, you know, she gave me like her input on how I made her feel. And she was like, you know, I just didn't know where the Croc situation came from. I was just having a really bad morning and you just made it worse by, you know, nitpicking with me about some of the things you said. And, you know, the older Lauren in me wanted to be like, girl, who the fuck is you? Like, who you talking to? But I sat there and I just looked at her. I smiled. I said, okay, Leah, you know, I apologize. But I still let her say what she needed to say. And then like afterwards, you know, it was done and over with and we went back, you know, to our regular scheduled program. But, you know, I had to look at it like, you know, thank God my daughter is mature enough in a way and feels comfortable enough to come to me and say, hey, that shit that you pulled this morning was not cool. In a respectful way, because it wasn't like she came to me and was like, you don't need to be yelling at me. It was just like, I was really distraught this morning and I just couldn't understand why you're talking about Crocs when I'm having a hair meltdown in emergency. Like, I just didn't want to hear that this morning. Like, I'm already having like a terrible morning. So, I had to look at it like that. And it made me, look at the fact that, I'm trying to parent my kids differently these days because as y'all guys know, I do have two older daughters. They are 18 and 16, and then I have a 8-year-old child. So I kind of parented them. And of course, my older daughter, she has a mother. And, we all collectively parented them a totally different way than ever is being parented. Like, I do try the more gentle parenting approach with her. Now, don't get me wrong, I will tap my daughter's ass if need be. I'm not one of them parents that be like, I'm not gonna ever hit my kid. If you take it too far, I'm gonna have to tap that ass. I'm sorry, that's just how I am as a parent. And me take it too far is, I know it's taking too far, but I don't need to be whooping your ass for everything. I don't need to be yelling and screaming at you about everything. We can sit down, we can have a conversation, and I like that. Like with my 8-year-old, I'm not really trying to have a conversation with you. I can listen to why you feel that way, but at the end of the day, I said what I said, and that's it. But her issue is you still want to, once I said that's it, after I've listened to you and we've already had this dialogue, you feel like you can keep going. And I have to explain to her, like, no, once I said that's it, that's it. Like, I understand your feelings. However, this is how things are going to go. But, it was like it was a learning moment for me this week when it comes to parenting and, just dealing with your kids. And especially I have daughters. I want my daughters, number one, to be able to speak up for themselves in any capacity when it comes to anybody, because that was an issue that I had when I was younger. I love my parents. I say that to death. But, if you're my age, I'm 37, we were not allowed to speak our minds. It was, this is what it's going to be, and that's it. You're a child. You do not have an opinion. You do not have no damn feelings. This is what it's going to be. And I don't want that for my kids, because that way of thinking did not help me in speaking up for myself in later situations, or, just not knowing how to correctly speak up for myself. So that was a big learning moment for me. And, I had to give myself a pat on the back, because it was like, at least my daughter feels comfortable enough to come look at me and say, hey, you need to do better. Because that shit, you can't be doing that. So, that is something that I'm going to work on, because in the morning, girl, one thing y'all got to know about me, I am a punctual person. I like things to be on time. I like to be on time. If you on time, we late. Girl, we got to be at least 10 minutes ahead of time for me to feel comfortable that, I'm doing the right thing. So I'm trying to ease up. Like, I still want to teach my kids that if you are supposed to be somewhere at a certain time, you need to be there. It's not, we're going to wait on you. Like, that's not reality. That's not life. That's the quickest way to get your ass fired from somewhere. So, if this ain't your business, you need to show up on time. But nonetheless, that was a learning moment for me with my daughter. And again, I was very satisfied with the fact that she was, comfortable enough to come and have a conversation with me regarding, my crass behavior that morning. So the other topic that I wanted to talk about is family, because I did recently have my family here, and, I wanted to talk about family because I feel like me right now, I want the best for everybody in my family, but I've I also don't want to be involved in everything that everybody has going on. And, I'm trying to like talk about things without like actually putting anybody's business out. But, one thing that I have learned when it particularly comes to family is, just people in general, like you gonna either accept people for who they are or you're not. And if you're not, then that means just don't deal with them. You go your separate ways, and that's what it is. But if you are going to deal with the person, then you have to accept that person for who they are and what they bring to the table or what they may lack or whatever. But you have to, you have to accept it and move on from it. And, a dynamic in my family that I feel like needs to change is that we're kind of all in each other's business. Now, me personally, I do not tell my family my marital business. Like, if me and my husband are arguing or fighting or something, and we don't really do that like that much these days, like, we just don't. We don't really argue and fight about a lot of things these days, but, I just don't feel like they need to be in my marital business, because when you have too many people in your business, period, it causes conflict. And one thing that I've had to learn is, I tell you something when I'm upset. I'm upset with my partner. So I'm telling you all the dirty, nasty, grimy things that they do. And, we as family or friends or whoever, we internalize that. Whereas, you may have gotten over it, but I'm still looking at him sideways or her sideways saying, what the hell are you doing him? You told me they did X, Y, Z, but, at the end of the day, that was something that we went through. We talked about it. It's over. So y'all need to be over it. And sometimes it just doesn't work that way. So in my family dynamic, like, I feel like sometimes we are just too much in each other's business. Like, I always tell my siblings, my parents will probably go kill me if they watch this and see this, but I tell them that they need to keep their marital business. Because our parents don't call us when they're fighting. Like, they're not telling us their marital business. Like, they're just not doing that. So why are you in turn calling them and telling them your marital business? Now, I know some of us have parents that you can call, I can tell you, what's going on, and you can totally give me, like, your advice. And, my parents give advice, but sometimes it doesn't stop there. Like, it goes a little further than it actually should. But, this a rule of thumb for me is I don't really tell anybody, to be exact, my marital business. Now, my kids, we can talk about my kids because they're kids. Like, if they're doing some fucked up shit, I'ma just keep it 100, especially when it comes to kids, because, it takes a village to raise kids. But my marriage and, what goes on in my marriage, I just don't feel like it is anybody's business. So, that's the dynamic that we deal with in our family. We're all just very nosy. We all in everybody's business. And I say that to say that the approach that I have been making these days is I am a listening ear. Previously I used to like try to give out advice and tell you what you should do, but I don't really feel comfortable doing that these days. I feel comfortable being a listening ear. I feel comfortable, telling you like, hey, I, went through a current situation with my husband, and this is kind of like the steps I took to fix it. These are the steps that you can take. You can take different steps, but I'm not in the business of like telling, my siblings or even my friends like exactly what they should be doing. Like, I'm not gonna do that. I don't do that these days. I'm more of a listening ear. I'm more of, I don't know your partner. You know your partner. You know your situation. You know what goes on in your house day to day. I don't. I just know what you tell me when you mad because, as human people, when we get upset and we calling people and we're talking about, things that we are upset about, we tend to go down a list of things that we don't like about our partner that, it annoys us, but it may not really annoy me for real, but it annoys me a lot in this instance because I'm mad. And, I think as families sometimes, particularly with my family, we need to just be a listening ear. We need to not give our advice because I'm a firm believer in when you tell somebody what to do and it does not work out the exact way that you said it should not work out, it's like it can backfire on you. I've also been in that situation. Well, not technically, but I've told people to do certain things and it didn't exactly work out the way that I said it was. And, so I just don't do that no more. Like, I'm not giving my unsolicited advice. Like, I will tell you the steps that I have taken that has helped me, and in the steps that I have taken in my marriage that has helped my marriage become better. And, I always tell everybody it starts with you. Like, it starts with you. If you want things to be better in your marriage, start with you first. Figure out what you may be doing wrong and what you can do better on and improve upon that. And if you come to the end of that and it's still not working out for you, then there's your answer. That's just how I see it. Because if you start working on yourself and worry about how I can be a better me to my husband or my girlfriend or my kids, how can I be a better cousin, a better friend, a better daughter? When you start worrying about what I can do instead of they need to do this to make me happy and they need to do this to make... When you start worrying about what I can do to make me happy, a lot of things will become clearer to you in the end. That's just personally what I believe because that's something that I had to do particularly for myself. So that's the advice that I give people in my family. Like, work on yourself, worry about yourself. Stop worrying about what, your significant other is or isn't doing. Worry about you because we all have things we need to work on. And if somebody sees you becoming better, they either gonna step up, because they're like, hey, I see things are changing and, they're not as angry no more, or they're not yelling about certain things anymore, or, things are changing. So either they're going to change to keep up with you, or they may feel like maybe I need to do better. Maybe I need to, they're going to start checking themselves. And if they don't, then baby, that's the answer for you. That's about as simple advice as I can give you. Like, worry about you. Even if you married, worry about fixing you. Worry about what you can do to be better in whatever field that is that you feel like you need to be better in. And if at the end of this work that you have done, if you are still getting the same results from the person, then that should let you know right then and there what you need to do. And I know sometimes it is easier said than done, but it's a choice at the end of the day. You can either, like I said at the beginning, you can either choose to stay with this person and accept, flaws and all, or you can walk away. It's that simple. So, that is like the grand scheme of things when it comes to like family, my family in particular. Like, I just want us to all just to kind of like take a step back, mind our business, and, not give your opinions on, other people's lives. Like, you just be a listening ear. I know sometimes that's hard. That's easier said than done. It's not hard for me because I can sit and listen to you and be like, I agree with everything you're saying, but what are you going to do? Not what am I going to do, because I don't have to go live your life. Like, I have my own life that I got to live. I got my own decisions that I have to make. I can't make your decisions for you. And, that's what I've been saying. And, it's been a lot on me when it comes to family anyway, because I feel like a lot of my family leans on me for like support and like just somebody to talk to, which is very strange because, girl, 20 years ago, wouldn't nobody ask me nothing about nothing because I was a hot ass mess. But honestly, like, I feel like taking the time that I did like the last couple years to like honestly work on myself and figure out like who I am and how I want my life to be and how I want my relationships to be with people. It has really helped me. But like, the two things that, girl, we discussed this week is parenting. We have to, I know this is specifically for the black community. I didn't grow up in the white community, so I don't know. I know in the black community, y'all, we were not allowed to express ourselves. So I want my daughters to always be able to come and say whatever the hell is the issue is. If it's me, if it's my mama, if it's a coworker, if it's anybody, I want them to be able to come and talk to me. And I'm just grateful that, I have created a space that my kids feel comfortable to come talk to me. So again, I'm going to give myself a pat on the back for that because that was very eye-opening for me this week. And then also family. Let's just stay out of each other's business, y'all. Like, we could be in each other's business, but let's just be respectful of how we respond to things. What things we choose to tell people because, I don't feel like how you feel should be told all the time because that's your opinion. You do not have any proof behind some of the things that we come up with. But, nonetheless, like, I just feel like, we need to be more of a listening ear instead of giving unsolicited advice. Because 9 times out of 10, we just want to call and vent. I don't want you to tell me, well, you need to do this, and this is what I think, and if you don't do this, then you're a jackass. Not that I'm saying that nobody is saying that, but, y'all know how I go. When you call family sometimes, and, they probably tired of hearing the same old shit, but, it is what it is. Relationships are not perfect. They have their ups and downs. Some people have more downs, some people have more good, and some people even skelters. But, I just think we need to be more compassionate when it comes to family. But that is the end of my episode 3, Therapy Thursdays. What am I going to leave working on this week? This week, I'm going to continue working on being a better parent, being more patient, being more understanding, and being less critical. And this week I am going to work on me exercising. I'm gonna get back to exercising because I do have a little setup in my garage. I might vlog that this week. Who knows? We'll see. And I am also going to practice not giving my unsolicited advice. Like, if you ask me what I personally think about something, I might, I'm going to say it in its very tactful manner because, girl, sometimes you think being real and, it's a fine line between being real and being mean. And, sometimes I know I can straddle the fence with that, and I call it as being real, but girl, sometimes you're just being mean. But, I feel like, I'm going to practice, just being a listening ear and telling you that you got to figure you out because I can't do it for you. But on that note, I thank you guys for watching. I know I went a little over my threshold, but, I told y'all this is going to be a little long one. I hope it wasn't too boring, or, I hope these topics can help you in whatever you're going with, especially with parenting. Guys, we come from black households, or if you don't, and you may have a parent that didn't let you speak or didn't let you express yourself, we could try something different with our kids. I ain't saying go totally left field, but we can try something different with our kids. And I see that I have, and it's working out, as my kids get older, it's working out. Now, my 8-year-old, we're going to have to work on her. Well, the Lord going to have to work on me, because Child, honey, but that's another episode for another day. But thank you guys for watching. As always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you.